all that good stuff. All right, what's happening right now in field hockey? We've got our Il Giardino Chicken Parm Player of the Week coming up too later on in the show. But Norfolk Academy continues to be dominant. They stay unblemished on the season, got themselves a win in the recent Ring of Honor tournament. Mary Werkheiser's program has just been stellar all year long. They got that big win over Cox a couple weeks ago. They're looking strong. Another team that's looking really strong is Tab. 59-game winning streak for them. Mika Hilberger, the hero from Kira Trader, 2-1 victory over St. Catherine's, who handed Gloucester its first blemish. Remember, we had Coach Joe Dougherty on the podcast not too long ago. Well, they took an L to St. Catherine's. However, it was Tab beating St. Catherine's out of Richmond. Very good private school. So a lot of interesting stuff there on that front. And then the big battle today, First Colonial Cox. Is First Colonial going to be a threat in Region 5A? They have a new head coach this year. She's got some ties to the 757. You'll hear that conversation coming up in just a little bit. But so much interesting, I guess you could say subplots and storylines as we get closer to playoff time. Remember, there's some teams in new divisions now. Kellum dropping down from Class 6, where they were a state tournament team a year ago. Now they're competing in Class 5 Region A, and that group with Cox, who's won all those state championships, with First Colonial. You also have in Great Bridge now at the Region 5A level. They've won 3 consecutive state titles at Class 4, so they're going to be a new team in that field. They're trying to rebound from a couple of blemishes they had here recently where they got knocked off by Grassfield as well as Poquoson, a couple of pretty quality teams. And then you have where the 6 classifications we have with the Virginia High School League, when it comes to a sport like field hockey, they allow schools that are in, your smaller divisions 2 and 1 to play up in Class 3. So we'll see what happens with Poquoson and Tab and some of those teams as they compete. Gloucester now dropping from Class 5 down to the Class 4 level. They look to be probably, if not the favorite, certainly among the favorites to win a state championship, despite that blemish they had to a very good private school team outside of the Peninsula District. And in the PD, they haven't gotten tested as much, but they've scheduled some teams here recently. That Ring of Honor tournament that took place. And for those that missed any of that, we've got those games that we streamed on Friday and Saturday of last week, and they're available on our YouTube channel with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. So just search for it, subscribe. You can go back and watch the archive games and see what you might have missed with some of the action. Washington Liberty came down from the Northern Virginia area. Kempsville was involved in some games, Grassfield, Gloucester. So go back and watch it, what you might have missed if you're a fan of that or want to see what transpired with the Ring of Honor tournament. And speaking of the Ring of Honor, they have announced that its induction class for 2023 features 6 new individuals. So congrats to these people: Terry Gadsby, Pat Panzik, Teresa Morris-Platt, Mimi Smith. Oh, my good buddy Lee Tolliver. We're Facebook friends, longtime reporter from the Virginia Pilot, does a terrific job covering sports, was an outdoorsman guy doing that beat for them for a long time, and Kim Versage. So kudos to them as they are the new members of this year's RTC Field Hockey Ring of Honor. They'll be honored with a ceremony at the Regional Training Center coming up on November the 14th. That's a Tuesday, November at 7 o'clock p.m. Ticket info will be available soon, so stay tuned. Make sure you like our Virginia Beach Regional Training Center Facebook page where we stream the show as well for more details about that. We're streaming not just on beachsportsplex.com, but on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook, our Twitter feed, or I guess you could say X is what it's called now on social media, at 757 Sports Talk. And we also put up a link on virginiapreps.com to this show for all our loyal high school sports audience, because we have a wonderful following across the entire Commonwealth of VA with virginiapreps.com. It's part of the rivals.com network of sites powered by Yahoo Sports, giving you comprehensive coverage of high school sports news, recruiting info, and so much up there. Make sure you subscribe to that website ASAP. You won't be disappointed with all the high school sports coverage, especially when it comes to the fall sports and the winter sports with the football, basketball, and so much more. And we're now delving into some field hockey with that. So go check that out. It'll be up there for you. If you missed any of the show or want to go back and watch the interview, we have links to that through the YouTube channels and so much good stuff as well. All right. Well, we mentioned it. Meghan Smart is the new head coach at First Colonial. They went from Beanie Schleicher, who we had on our previous show with Scotty Tyson, from Beanie, who won state championships, to the likes of Lamort Smith, who's the head football coach. And now for them, they have a new head coach in Meghan Smart, who's not that old. She's just got done playing not too long ago. Well, we caught up with Coach Smart as well as Grace Dixon. You'll hear from first Coach Smart before we take a break here, as she spoke to us following the win over the Tallwood Lions. Let's hear that now with Field Hockey with Hatfield from the Plex. All right, here with First Colonial coach Meghan Smart after the Patriots 14-0 shutout over Tallwood, and you're now, is it 9-1, 10-1? I've lost track, something like that.
10-1.
Okay, but you're on like an 8-9 game winning streak here since the loss to Norfolk Academy. What's been working well for the gals here during this hot streak where it seems like everybody's starting to click and mesh with each other?
Yeah, we just keep preaching teamwork, right? There's 11 people on the field, so we have to use all 11 people. Can't play an individual game. Let the ball do the work, and that has been giving us success.
Now, this is your first season as the head cocoach, correct?
Yes, it is.
Tell me what that transition is from being a very good player. I understand you played at ODU in Appalachian State.
Yes.
You made some impressive highlights during your college career as a player to now being the head coach. And you were an assistant prior to that, correct?
Yes, I was a grad assistant last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so being a grad assistant at Old Dominion has definitely given me that experience for coaching, and the girls have just been so helpful and gracious and been patient with me and my new assistant coach, Allie, since the beginning of the season, making this transition very easy.
Sure. And it's a program at First Colonial. It's got a great tradition, 3 state championships in the last 15, 20 years. We know about the big rivalry and the matchup coming up with Cox. But tell me about some of the senior leaders and the captains you've leaned on. I know one in particular we'll talk with in a little bit, and Grace Dixon, who's the Ohio State commit.
Yes, we have Grace Dixon, Julia Sugden, Jolie Day, and Parker Rowell, who are our 4 captains this year, 4 seniors. They have done great from our summer workouts, leading the girls in conditioning, on the field with their play, and also vocally with their leadership has definitely given that extra step for us this season.
I think just about each of them had multiple goals in this game. Kind of break down each of them a little bit in terms of their skill set and what they bring your team and how they complement each other from your perspective.
Yeah, Jolie Day, she's super gritty in that circle. She always has rebounds, just trying to get that ball in the back of the net. Grace Dixon is definitely our playmaker. She complements everyone else on the field out there, making plays happen for us. Same with Julia in the middle. She makes plays happen, and she has great defense for us. And then we have Parker and Cage, who has been talking to everyone throughout every game. Even a 14-0 game, she's still talking back there, telling people where to go and what to do. So they complement each other really, really well.
What do you enjoy most about coaching this team?
Oh, it's just fun. I mean, I work all day and I get to practice and I'm just having fun. It's not work for me. It's just fun. They work really hard for me. They respond well to our feedback and our constructive criticism. And it's just fun. We're ready to win a state title.
And you mentioned the constructive criticism. I imagine there had to be someone you played, and obviously Norfolk Academy is now number 1 in the country, but when you have that adversity, you lose a game, what do you think the group learned from that and used from that experience to propel you here during this hot streak?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot from that. We learned a lot about ourselves in the game that we want to play versus playing the other opponent's team, or game, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, you got Cox coming up on Tuesday. There's a lot of respect, but there's no love lost. That's a rivalry, right?
Yes, it is.
Tell me about what the key is to winning that game.
Again, just play our game, right? It's just another game. There's a lot of hype around the Cox FC games usually in the past. I'm not from this area, so I don't know about it as much. But to me, it's just another game. We're just going to go out there and play our game.
Coach Meghan Smart and the Patriots are sharpening up for the postseason. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you so much.
So that's Meghan Smart, head coach in her first season at the helm over there at First Colonial, and got a big win over Tallwood, 14-0 in the rain. It was just a blowout there and looked really dominant with the number of players that she touched on that contributed. And you'll hear from one coming up in the next segment in Grace Dixon, who's headed to Ohio State. Very, very wonderful talent for her program. And it's interesting because Meghan Smart, a speech-language pathologist who went to Old Dominion, played there, contributed quite a bit, in fact, was at Appalachian State. In her high school career, she had 75 goals and 50 assists, was a multi-sport athlete, basketball, field hockey, lacrosse, from Hatfield, New Jersey. And there's a lot of great field hockey in that New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. I mean, we think of schools like the Hill School, which is, I think, number 1 in the latest Max Field Hockey National rankings, just ahead of Norfolk Academy at number 2, although Norfolk Academy was, and still may be, number 1 in the Max Preps rankings. But she comes from a really rich field hockey area, and she was 15th in goals per game her senior year at App State. Went to Old Dominion, which has a decorated field hockey program. We know about the great success and pedigree that they have there. So just tons of talent, and a big matchup coming up for them with Grace Dixon and the Patriots taking on Cox here today. We're going to take a time out and hear from some of our sponsors making this possible for us each and every week, from the training center and the Virginia Beach Sportsplex, or in my living room, wherever I might be recording this show. If I'm not there, we'll have games for you again coming up on Thursday and Friday. Thursday, I think we're streaming the Cox-Kempsville matchup, but we'll now step aside and hear from couple of those sponsors, including the place that has the new fall blizzard treat. Oh, it's fan food, not fast food. Grill and chill with our good friends at Dairy Queen.
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall!
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back!
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it! Peak fall achieved! DQ, happy tastes good.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
And welcome back to Field Hockey with Hatfield, our weekly podcast streaming on the Virginia Beach Sportsplex website, vbsportsplex.com, as well as on our YouTube channel at Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell everyone you know that's a sports fan, field hockey fan, and fan of yours truly, I guess. I guess I have a few out there. I'm Matt Hatfield with you, and we want to thank all of our sponsors, including One Life Fitness, who you just heard from before the break. One Life Fitness, One Inspire Life. They're here to help you start your new membership today at any of the 8 convenient locations across Hampton Roads. Go on in to One Life Fitness and onelifefitness.com, where you go and get that free trial pass when you subscribe today. All right. We mentioned we had Meghan Smart, and we also spoke with one of her standout players at First Colonial. That is Grace Dixon, who's committed to the Ohio State University. The Buckeyes do more than just play football, folks. They got a pretty darn good field hockey program in that rich Big Ten that is mighty, mighty strong year in and year out when it comes to field hockey. We've seen Northwestern come here. We had Big Ten at the Beach a few years back, and some national recognized programs. Maryland, you think at what they've done over there, Coach Missy. And look, Ohio State's got a good one coming their way from Virginia Beach. And here's what Grace Dixon told us after her team's win over Tallwood as they get set for the matchup today against the Cox Falcons. Let's give it a listen now with Field Hockey with Hatfield. All right, I'm here with one of the standouts for the first Colonial Patriots. She's committed to the Ohio State, the Buckeyes, Grace Dixon, as they win it today comfortably 14-0 over Tallwood. All right, Grace, you're no newbie to this. You've been scoring goals, making a lot of plays throughout your FC career. You're now a senior. How fast has it kind of flown by for you here as you get ready for college next year?
Yeah, I think it's gone incredibly quickly. Like we just keep going through seasons and you don't really realize how much time has passed. So this past week, we also had our senior night, which was really great. We were able to celebrate all of our seniors. Meg mentioned our full captains, but we also have Miranda White, who is our backup goalie, which is great to have and helps Poker and helps all of us just get more reps in that practice. So that's amazing.
What's different in you as a field hockey player from when you got to this program as a freshman to now as a senior? I know you've had some different coaches the last few years, but what's different about your overall game and abilities in your eyes?
I think as a freshman, you come in and you're like really nervous and you don't really know how it's going to go. But as a senior, you like know what to expect, you know what to do, but you also get to then help the younger girls come up and kind of give them a guiding hand that you got when you were at the program. So I think that's amazing. And it's really great to be able to give that back to other kids.
Coach Meghan Smart mentioned about you being a playmaker for this team. What goes into being a playmaker and being one all the time, not just every now and then pick and choosing your spots, if you will, but being that consistent playmaker where you're regarded as one of the best in the beach, the area, and the state?
I think it's just important to look at all your options on ball. I think, obviously you can always go forward, but looking backwards and sideways on the field, just being able to move the ball all around the field and use your other players to help, I think that really contributes to it.
Now, you love the sport. You're around here all the time. And in the summertime, you just love it from, the fall, the winter, spring, summer. There's no off days, which I think is all your great athletes in different sports, whether it be field hockey, baseball, softball, football, you name it. What is it about field hockey that you love? And do you have any idols or people you look up to and you've trying to emulate it over the years as you've gone through your progression as a player?
Yeah, I just love this sport. I love the way you kind of all work as a team together to get the ball up the field. And some people that I look up to is a player at Northwestern right now, Olivia Binkle. I think she's a really amazing playmaker and she's doing really well. It's her first year in college. Mm-hmm. Another player that I really like is Lucha. She's an Argentina player, really great playmaker, really good ball skills. So those are some players that I like to look up to.
Now you're committed to Ohio State, the Big Ten. You mentioned Northwestern. The Big Ten is just a dominant league in terms of college field hockey. What was it about Ohio State that you liked, and what did they like about you?
I really love the coaching staff there. All the girls on the team are super nice. It's a great team environment, which I really wanted something to go there and be able to meet all the girls and really find lifelong friends, which I'm really excited about. And the coaches there are amazing. And they what did they like about me? They said I was a good player and that I had some good looks on ball.
Good deal. A few more for you, let you run. What's unique about this FC team that gives you the belief, the confidence that you can make noise come playoff time and have a chance to get a state championship?
I honestly think I've been here for a long time and this is one of the best team environments we've had. Everyone's having fun. We're not having a lot of drama off the field, which is great. And I think we love to play for each other, which really makes us better.
And you've adapted to a new head coach and Coach Smart. Tell me about it. Just feels like you got that player's mentality. And it's like you all were just really vibing off each other very well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is nice to have a bit of a younger coaching staff, just some new people, and they've been playing the game a little bit closer, so they know what to expect and they know what to see, which is nice.
You're in a really good region. We have not only Cox, who's won all these state championships you'll see on Tuesday, which we'll get to in a second, but Great Bridge has won state championships. You've got Kellum and others. It's a good region. How much does the competition in the beach and the teams you play in your schedule get you ready for what's on deck here at the end of October and you hope into November?
Mm-hmm. Well, it really just helps us to get better all around. Even it helps us get better to play harder opponents in the offseason, but it also just helps us as individual athletes to better ourselves, which I think is amazing.
All right, lastly, I think in my latest field hockey rankings, we've got y'all, I think, fourth or so. Cox is second. It's always, it's always great in terms of these rivalry. Tell me about how cool that rivalry is and what's it going to take to come out on top on Tuesday.
I think the rivalry is amazing. I think it just helps all of us get better. Whenever you go to play a rivalry game, nerves are high, anxiety is high, but also play is high, competition is high, and we always play our best hockey when we have those games.
Watch out for number 11. She's a Player of the Year candidate for First Colonial, Grace Dixon, committed to Ohio State. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the best. Good job. That was Grace Dixon, who's looking forward to that matchup coming up just a little bit here with First Colonial and Cox. I know a lot of the games are streamed on NFHS Network. If you don't get a chance to go out there, we've got a lot of games for you at the Regional Training Center as well here as we talk to you with field hockey with Hatfield at the Plex. And you heard her mention one of the players she looks up to from the Philadelphia area, and Olivia Bent-Cole for Northwestern. And a game probably very similar to Olivia Bent-Cole for Northwestern. And we know what Tracy Fuchs has done over there at Northwestern, making them a national title contender just a couple years ago, winning the championship. And it's certainly one of the best programs in that Big Ten, where we mentioned Missy Mayharg at Maryland, and we've seen so many teams make a run to be at the best or among the best. And I think a great future ahead for Grace Dixon, regardless of what happens in that matchup with Cox. And it could be the first of a couple of matchups, because they could certainly run into each other again in the playoffs in Region 5A. And dare we say again, the state tournament, should they end up squaring off in that. There are some more games and some things I want to hit on before we go to break here. And then we have our Il Giardino Chicken Parm Field Hockey Player of the Week. Thanks to Il Giardino. Let's give them a quick read and shout out. Il Giardino offers veal, seafood, chicken, pasta, vegetarian, and pizza creations that are all taste sensations. If you haven't been there, you're missing out. Trust me, it's on 910 Atlantic Avenue in Virginia Beach. All the sauces are made from scratch, and every item is made to order. Add in the lively sounds from the expanded piano bar and lounge, and it's no wonder why Il Giardino is such a popular local spot. You can find the complete menu and so much more, plus the hours of operation, when you go online to ilgiardino.com. That is ILGIARDINO.com. Give them a call at 757-422-6464. That's 757-422-6464. Tell them Matt Hatfield and Chuck from the Sportsplex and the crew sent you in there. They'll take good care of you. But some games of note coming up, and we'll hit on some of these in our top 10 breakdowns. You got on Wednesday, Churchland's at Ocean Lakes, Indian River at Hickory, Menchville at Maury. Circle that one because it should have some implications for Region 5B for the playoffs that are just a couple weeks away. Nansemond River at Great Bridge is probably the game of the week in a lot of people's eyes in the Chesapeake area, the Southeastern District. We'll see if the Warriors, who got to the state championship last year and fell to Cox, can take down Great Bridge and knock them down a peg even more. Northumberland's at New Kent, Oscar Smith's at Grassfield, Smithfield's at Jamestown, Western Branch is at Deep Creek. Then on Thursday, we mentioned the Cox-Kempsville game coming up at the Training Center. You also got FC in Lancetown, Green Run versus Tallwood. So you got a trio of games at the Training Center. Bruton at Woodside, Gloucester's at Trinity Episcopal. Circle that game as one to keep an eye on to see how Gloucester does. They had that one blemish here recently to St. Catherine's, but I think they're going to be just fine. Kellum's at Salem, Lafayette versus Smithfield over at Cooley Field. Lakeland's at Kings Fork, Menchville at Grassfield. Again, I'm interested to see how that one goes as well. Menchville got a couple of games of note this week with Maury and Grassfield, who's a Class 6 school that's probably, I don't know if they're in the driver's seat to win the title in Region 6A, because we showed them the score recently. Here they lost to Kempsville on Monday with Cameron Butler getting a couple of goals there for the Chiefs, but I'm curious to see what happens in that one for Grassfield in that matchup. And then you also have Ocean Lakes at Hickory and Princess Anne at Bayside. Another big one to circle on Friday, Norfolk Academy playing host to Collegiate out of Richmond, who's been a top 15, top 20 program in the country. Remember last year, that was the team that denied them in the VISAA state playoffs of hoisting the championship trophy. So you're sure there's going to be some payback on the minds for Norfolk Academy in that matchup with Collegiate, who's got a darn good program up there out of Richmond. That's going to be another good crowd there, much like the Cox game was a couple Wednesdays ago for Mary Werkheiser's program over there with so much talent, led by that awesome trio of Purdy, Betancourt, and Adams. So there you have it. We'll take another timeout, and when we come back, we've got the Il Giardino Chicken Parm Player of the Week, plus the latest Hatfield Field Hockey Top 10 rankings. Oh, I know you've all been waiting with bated breath for that to tell me where I'm right, where I'm wrong. I want some feedback. Give me some comments. Tell me who we're sleeping on, who we're not giving enough love to, who I've got overrated, who I've got underrated. I want to hear from all you out there. Send us a note, a comment, an email. Any way you want to get in touch with me, you can find me all across Hampton Roads. I'm not going to go Coach Prime and say, give me my theme music just yet, but we'll talk all kinds of sports and field hockey with you, with the great folks from Home Done Sports Productions, and on this Field Hockey with Hatfield podcast that comes your way each week on the March of the State Championships that'll be taking place on November the 11th here in Hampton Roads for the Class 6 and Class 5 levels. And as it gets colder, you got to bundle up, bring the jackets out, the mittens, the scarves, all those things. And it's always a good soup weather. And if you want soup, you got to stop in with our friends at Zoop Eatery. And we're back for this final segment on this Tuesday edition of Field Hockey with Hatfield. A lot of games getting underway right now, including that big battle between the Cox Falcons and the first Colonial Patriots. We've got the top 10, Hatfield's latest top 10 rankings coming your way in just a bit. But it is now time to announce the Chicken Parm Field Hockey Player of the Week presented by Giardino. And you see it right there on the screen. It is none other than Joji Purdy of Norfolk Academy. She's been long overdue to get this honor. Trust me when I say that, because she could have gotten it early in the season, and there were some deserving athletes who took home this honor. In fact, Ellis Cannon got the first one from Kellum High School when she dropped, I think it was 4 goals in a game that they had early in September. Then it was Lily Johnson from Great Bridge who had 4 goals in a 14-0 win over Kings Fork on September 20th. And then as we closed out September and turned the calendar to October, and this is more coincidental, not planned this way. It was her teammate Lizzie Adams, the Columbia commit, who had the hat trick with 3 goals against Cox in a 5-1 win, and then also 3 goals in a 6-0 shutout of Catholic, 2 teams that have been in our top 10 and might be in our top 10 and be announced in just a bit. And Adams was the first team All-State and All-TCIS performer as a junior. And this time it goes to Joji Purdy. The Penn State commit continues her outstanding play, 4 goals and an assist in an 8-1 win over Kellum during the Ring of Honor tournament that was held at the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach. And in the last 2 games, 7 goals, 2 assists for the unbeaten Bulldogs, ranked as high as number 1 nationally in a number of different polls that have them top 15 anywhere you slice it. So kudos to Joji Purdy, well-deserved, the latest award recipient when it comes to the Giardino Chicken Parm Player of the Week. So kudos to Joji Purdy on that. Well-deserved as she gets that honor. And I think she's going to be up for Player of the Year, not just TCIS, but VISAA, Tallwood Player of the Year. She's going to have a lot of different accolades that will be coming her way, and you understand why. And as we go to our top 10 rankings, we're going to count them down from 10 to 1 again this week. Number 10 in the rankings, it's going to be Coach Lindsay Boyce's Catholic Crusaders. They did lose to Norfolk Academy back on September 29th by a count of 6-0, but she's done a nice job with that program. The AD turned head coach there. They beat Stewart and Norfolk Collegiate by a combined 14-1 margin, so I'm putting them back in the top 10 at number 10. 2 teams are new to the rankings this week. Catholic was in it just a couple weeks ago. 2 teams drop out. As far as back in the top 10, they've been as high as number 3 early in the season, reigning 3-time state champs, Great Bridge. Lily Johnson, a previous Chicken Parm Player of the Week recipient. Aubrey Steckline, there's some pieces still there, but big week for them with Nansman River on Wednesday and Princess Anne on Friday at the Regional Training Center, plus Kellum on Monday. So we could be looking at 7-5, 8-4, 9-3, and if they're 10-2, 10-2 puts them back in the title conversation to me, and now Region 5A. Anything less than safe 9-3, it's hard to imagine them competing at the same level with Cox and First Colonial now being 5A, but we'll see if Great Bridge can get back on that horse after those losses, those setbacks against Grassfield and Pocosin. Not exactly, shabby programs, but we'll see if they can get back in that upper part of the top 10. Right now, I'm just sliding them back in, and we'll see if it's a mistake or it's the right move or not. Number 8, they drop a spot because last week they were 7th. I like what Tom Warner's done there. He came on our podcast a couple weeks back. We've had on Sydney Riguini last week on the show, the JMU commit. They've got her. They've got a goal scorer that's going to Richmond and Sarah Ellis. Those 2 had the goals in that 2-0 win that they just notched over Washington Liberty in the Ring of Honor. And I'm putting Princess Anne at number 8 at 7-2. They did lose to Cox last week by a count of 6-0, but I'm not going to panic on that because I do feel like they're still going to be in that hunt in Region 5A. 2 of the best goal scorers around with Riguini and Ellis. And I can still see them securing a top 4 seed in Region 5A. I wouldn't mind seeing a Princess Anne Great Bridge matchup in the playoffs. And, oh, by the way, they'll be squaring off this week at the Regional Training Center coming up on Friday. So PA is 8. Number 7 is Pocosin. They did beat Great Bridge, and they have 3 straight wins since the loss to First Colonial. They've taken 6 of their last 7. They're allowing just 13 goals in 13 games. So the goalkeeping is good. And when they score 2 or more this year at 11-0, they score just 1 or none, they lose. 3 straight games with Nansman River, Tab, and Grassfield to close out the regular season. So Coach Darcy Chiapazzi is not ducking the competition, folks. Pocosin's coming in at number 7. Number 6 in the Hatfield Field Hockey Top 10 on this 10-10-23 day, it is Nansman River, the Warriors. No, Coach Ed Young did not tell me to put them at 6. I decided to do that on my own accord. He has no input on this, thankfully, rightfully. He might say wrongfully, but no, that's how we're going with it. 4 straight shutouts, though, for the Warriors going into the Poquoson game. And that includes an 8-0 blanking of Maury, who was in our top 10 and fell out this past week with that loss. In fact, all 9 wins have been shutouts for the Warriors of Nansemond River, so it's excellent goalkeeping for them. All 10 goals allowed this year came to Norfolk Academy and Gloucester, 2 top 5 programs, 2 top 3 programs as recent as just last week. All right, as for number 5, it's a team dropping a couple spots from 3 to 5, and it's Gloucester. You say, why? They're 11-1. Coach Dougherty's got a great program. Reese Miller, who you see on the screen, had a couple of goals in that 6-0 shutout of Washington Liberty and the Ring of Honor. Well, they had the one blemish to St. Catherine's, and there's a team that beat St. Catherine's that's now moved up and that has a goose egg in a loss column. So that's why. So I don't feel too bad about them. I think they're still going to be right there when it's all said and done for Gloucester to compete as far as the postseason goes and making a championship push, because I think they are set up to do just that, especially given where they are in the bracket of things and with the format of things. I like where they're set up, but I got to be honest right now. I think that they've slipped a little bit, just a couple of close results. They're beatable, but hey, they're still going to be right there. And by the way, if you're wanting to know the times for the championship games, Ocean Lakes High School Friday, November 10th will have the I believe the semifinals, and then November 11th is going to have the championships at Kellum. They've got some warm-up times for those teams in those games, but the Class 5 championship is going to be at 10 a.m. for November 11th. Class 6 is at 12 p.m. Classes 1 through 3 is at 2 p.m. and Class 4 is at 4 p.m. So that's your times for those championship games. So that information has been released by the Virginia High School League for that. So we're going to put Gloucester 5. So to quickly recap before we get to 1 through 4 or 4 to 1, it's Catholic 10, Great Bridge 9, Princess Anne 8, Poquoson 7, Nansemond River 6, Gloucester 5. Number 4, it's the Tab Tigers. They're on a 59-game winning streak. I think it's the quietest 59-game winning streak I can ever recall, and it's counting for them. They got a big win over Kellum, 4-0 on Monday. That was huge for them, playing against a top-tier program. I like what they're doing. And I think that they are right there. Somebody out there knows Wendy Wilson. Tell her we've reached out. We want to get her on the show here maybe as soon as next week. So someone out there in Tabland, we got a lot of Tigers fans out there. I'm wearing the Tab Tiger Orange, even though it's a Virginia Preps Classic shirt. Rocking Tab today. I was just at their football game last week over at Bailey Field when they beat Bruton. And we had on Coach John Byron on our football on the Hash of the Hatfield podcast. Let Coach Wilson know we want to get her on the show. We mentioned about Hillberger, the hero, in that 2-1 overtime win over St. Catherine's. They have a chance with about 3-4 regular season games left. I think they got War Hill, Cape Henry, Poquoson, maybe another game with Bruton, if I'm not mistaken. But that state record of Cox winning 69 consecutive from 93 to 96, it could be in jeopardy if Tab takes us to the wire all the way through the championship round. I mean, they don't set it this year. They can definitely do it next year. If they run the table, I'm amazed more people aren't giving them some love. Tab is right there at number 4 now. They go ahead of Gloucester. And moving up a spot is First Colonial at 3. Obviously, the team that doesn't win that battle with them and Cox is going to drop some, but a 75-6 goals advantage in terms of the margin for Coach Meghan Smart's team on a 9-game winning streak. The Biggie versus Cox today to show why they're the top team in 5A. In their opinion, Cox has other ideas, and they chime in at number 2. Falcons at number 2 with a record of 8-2-1, 7 shutouts for the Liberty commit there as the goalkeeper, and Isabel Pardo. We had her on our podcast a few weeks back. She's been rock solid with 13-0 shutouts of both Lanston and Tallwood to follow up that 6-0 win over Princess Anne. And Don Waters, really solid program. They have responded from the 5-1 loss to Norfolk Academy, and I think they're going to get into championship form here, and we'll see some other pieces emerge around their other standout players like Pardo in goal, like Spear, and like Savino and others there. I think Cox is going to be just fine. And number 1, it's Norfolk Academy. They've taken on all challengers and solved them and continue to dominate week after week, game after game. You got the big 3 of Purdy, Adams, and Betancourt, but they're more than just that for Mary Werkheiser's team at Hampton Roads Academy on Thursday. Then the big one with Collegiate on Friday. We'll see if they can give Norfolk Academy a real tough test. Only test has come for them in that tournament they had out of state a couple weeks back. So we'll see if anybody has what it takes to hang with the Bulldogs. So to recap, you see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen there, 1 through 10. It's Norfolk Academy at the top, followed by Cox and First Colonial, 2 backyard Virginia Beach rivals. Tab from the Bay Rivers is number 4. Gloucester from the Peninsula is number 5. And then 6 through 10 features 9-2 Nansemond River, 11-2 Poquoson, 7-2 Princess Anne, 7-2 Great Bridge, And running up the top 10 at 10-3 is Catholic. Dropping out this week was Grassfield at 7-4. They lost to Kempsville and Gloucester after that big win over Great Bridge. Have a chance to get back in. And Maury at 9-3. They were number 10, but that 8-0 loss to Nansemond River before the 9-0 win over Manor marked their 9th shutout of the season. That one had to knock them down a couple pegs and out of the top 10. I'm still looking at Western Branch pretty hard. Woodside was unbeaten, we mentioned last week. Then they took a big L to Menchville. Menchville has a chance to move into that top 10. So there you have it. That is the top 10 for this week. That's going to do it for this latest edition of Field Hockey with Hatfield at the Plex. We thank you all for tuning in, whether you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or X or Instagram or virginiapreps.com, wherever you might be with your phone, your tablet, your smart watches, all those different things, all the different devices and technology items you have out there. Again, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got some field hockey action coming your way this week from the Plex. And as always, we encourage you to reach out to us with any comments, tips, suggestions you may have here as we talk to you about everything in the world of field hockey and sports across the 757 and beyond. Because we say beyond, it is going to be state tournament time soon. And we want to also highlight some teams and players from outside the Hampton Roads area. We won't just cover the 757, though it is in our wheelhouse. We will certainly give some focus and some shine to those outside of the area too that are deserving of it. So that's going to do it. And we'll talk to you again next week as we get closer and closer to Halloween. Oh, what costume will I wear on October 31st? I got to go pick it out. It's just 21 days away. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you again sometime soon right here on the Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube.